Hi, Melina here, and just wanted to film a quick video because for the first time in a long time, because I usually try to be good about this, I don't really like reading multiple books at once, but right now I'm in the middle of 5. So, yes, my family and I are planning on going on vacation soon, around the 29th or the 30th of September. So my goal is to, even if I don't read anything else, first of all, to not start anything new for now, and second, to finish all 5 of these books before we leave, so that I just kind of have a fresh slate. I can pick up something new for the plane. I plan on picking up books while we're on vacation, so maybe I could start something of one of those, and yeah, I won't have 5 books kind of on the back burner already. Like, if there's one that I don't finish, I could bring it with me and hopefully finish it on the plane, and it won't be too bad, but I at least want to finish at least 4 of them before I leave. But anyways, I'm going to just say a little bit about each of them, what they are, how this problem escalated to the fact of where it is. A while ago, because I like reading an arc a month, this is the one that messed me up. This has been in quite a few of my videos now. This is a short story compilation by many different authors and artists. It is L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future, Volume 33. This has different illustrations and stories of sci-fi and fantasy, and it has like lots of stories, like probably like 30 or something, so it's quite a few, and it came out on April 4th. So I have been starting this since before or slightly after it came out, and yeah, I've been reading this for a long time, and I am this far, not too far in. And yeah, I'm going to go through kind of my stats for each one and how much I have left to go towards the end. What should I do right now? Hang on. Okay, yes, so for this book, let's just do them now. This book is 345 pages, this arc is anyway, and I have read 104 of those pages, which leaves me with 241 to go. So that's the statistics for that one. Then afterwards, whilst reading many books in between and still being in the middle of the Writers of the Future, I started this beast of a book, which is Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy by Cassandra Clare and Friends. And yes, this book is huge. I had been reading it since way before the Booktubeathon, and I read one of the stories for Booktubeathon, and that is the last story that I've read so far. So it's been like a couple, like 2.5 weeks since I picked it up. And yes, I really want to get through this because I want to read Lady Midnight, and I want to buy Lord of Shadows and The Lost Book of White when it comes out. And I feel like I at least need to be done with this before I can reasonably pick up more Cassandra Clare books, you know? That at least there'll only be one official novel of hers so far that I haven't read after I finish this, that is in the canon, you know? So for this one is 655 pages, so it's a tome, even though it wouldn't qualify for tome topple or whatever, but it's 655 pages. I have read 259 of those pages, so I'm right here, which isn't too bad. It's a good chunk, and which leaves me with 396, so almost 400 pages left. That's this one, and the second book in the build-up. Then next, earlier I briefly mentioned the Booktubeathon, and I have this, which is Stone Mattress by Margaret Atwood. This is a compilation of short stories, all by her, and it's 9 short stories, and I've read 2 of them so far, so I have 7 left to go. I started this a little bit before Booktubeathon, and I read one of the stories during Booktubeathon, I believe. Or maybe, no, I started during Booktubeathon, I read one of them, and then I read the second one during Tome Topple, just as kind of a breather in between tomes. So yeah, as for this one, this book is 286 pages, so it's not that long actually, and I'm right here, so not even halfway yet. And I have read 74 pages, so I have 212 left to read, which is the least amount of page counts from any of the books that I have to read, but it's still here. I still need to read it. And yeah, those last 7 stories should go quickly. It's just short story compilations take me a long time for some reason, and that's why 3 of these 5 books that I'm still reading are short story compilations, so I need to finish through those. Next, Tome Topple started a little bit after Booktubeathon ended. I think it was like the week after it ended. And I read one tome, which was Impulse by Ellen Hopkins, and I was reading short things in between, like some stories from Writers of the Future and a story from Stone Mattress, but I wanted to get started on the second tome that I had been planning on reading for Tome Topple specifically, and that I've been wanting to read in general before the new movie comes out, which is It by Stephen King. Obviously the Dust Jacket is not on it because I'm currently reading it. The only one that has a dust jacket and the dust jacket is on is the Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, because I put it down for a little because I was in the middle of things and I had actually finished a story, so I was just in between stories. And I'm about this far, which isn't too bad. It's like less than half, but it's a decent chunk. This behemoth of a book is 1,138 pages, and I have read 452, so I've almost read an entire tome's worth of this book. I believe like 350 of that was during Tome Topple, and then the rest has been after. So I am left with having to read 686 pages, so that's almost 700 pages that I still have to read for this. And the thickest book by Stephen King that I had read was 11/22/63, which was about 800 to 900 pages, so that's almost how much I have left of this one. So it's a huge one, yeah. And last but certainly not least, the other day I was browsing through the free bin of Second and Charles, as I normally do, and I saw this really cute book this really cute copy of a book that I already own, I've already read before, but I didn't have the movie cover of it, and it's mass market paperback, and I decided to pick it up because I wanted it in my collection, and it's my favorite book of the series, and that is New Moon, the second book in the Twilight Saga by Stephenie Meyer. No shame, I'll never have like an ounce of shame about any book that I appreciate or any movie or song or anything, because if I like it, why would I shit talk it, you know? But I loved this series growing up. I loved Jacob. Like, I liked Edward for Bella, and I thought that I guess in certain ways they were good together, but I just loved Jacob as a character. And so this book is mostly people's least favorite because there's like almost no Edward, and it's a majority of just her and Jacob. But I always loved it. And I didn't want to take Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy or It anywhere with me because they're too heavy. They're huge, humongous books, which is why I'm still in the middle of both of those. But I didn't feel like taking Writers of the Future with me because that one's going to be harder for me to read because even though it's short, it's kind of dragging. And I might try to skim read a majority of the stories and then just read the ones I like, and maybe even unhaul it when I'm done. But for some reason I really want to finish that book, just to see if there's any gems, because each of them are by a different author that stand out to me. And I don't want to take Stone Mattress in my bag because I don't have one of those like cute like little like book bow bags that you put within your bag so your book doesn't get damaged. And I paid almost $10 for that, which is a lot for what I usually spend on books. Well, my mom did. But this was free. And I have a copy already of New Moon, and so this one is a little beat up, and it's getting a little bit beat up in my bag, which I'll admit is still bothering me. But yes, I was like, this one is cute, it's portable, and I had it with me that day that I found it in my purse because it was just easy to take. And I was like, you know what? I was bored. I was at Target with my mom, like where my mom works, and I had some time on my hands, and I was like, I'm going to start rereading New Moon, because at the end of last year in December, I read Midnight Sun, which is, if for those of you who aren't like Twihards and didn't know about that, it was Twilight, like a good chunk of Twilight told from Edward's perspective. And I read that, and obviously I've seen the movie multiple times, I've read the book before. It's kind of one of those things that's so ingrained to my head that I know everything that happens in Twilight down to the T, like in the first book. So I was like, there's nothing wrong with me just jumping into this one, and then eventually, if I ever feel like I need to reread the first book, I will. But I wanted to read this one and then keep going and read through the series. And this is the only one I have with me, because the rest of my like original copies are in storage. But yes, I love this. I love this so much. I'm having the most fun rereading it because it's just Jacob, and just, I love it. Like, you know, sure, Stephenie Meyer isn't gonna win, like, a Pulitzer Prize or whatever the fuck, but people can stop trash-talking her. She's a fun, addictive writer who makes, you know, believable characters and an interesting story. So, yes, I'm loving this. I am right there. Nice little chunk. This is also a tome, because most of them are pretty thick, and as for that one, this one is 563 pages. I have read, when I marked this down, it was 126, but as of right now, it is 182 pages, which leaves me with around 400 pages, less than 400 pages. So, yes, overall, I have around 1,900 pages to read, which is about 66 pages a day before I go on vacation if I'm hoping to finish every single one of these books. Which, honestly, like I said, Writers of the Future isn't gelling with me. Like, everything else, even if it's taking me a while, or even if I've started multiple things in between because they're short story compilations or they're long, I am loving everything else. I really like Margaret Atwood's writing. I love the Shadowhunter world. I'm loving my reread of New Moon, and it is wonderful, like, by Stephen King. But Writers of the Future isn't really gelling with me, so if I don't finish it before I leave, I can live with that and just leave it here. But everything else, I wish to finish. And this is a really long and probably an unnecessary video for some people who are watching it, but this is mainly for me to look back on September 30th and know that I at least finished a good handful of these. Like, if I haven't finished any, I will be a disgrace to myself. And if I finished one, I'll be pretty disappointed. If I finished two, I'll be like, alright, if I finished three, that's at least where I want to be. And if I finished four, I'll pretty much be, like, accomplished my goal. And if I finish five, that's crazy, and it's just great. But, yes, I don't want it to be like, I want to have a new read for the plane, and I want to maybe start one of the new books I pick up while I'm still on vacation. And I still have to do my college classes while on vacation if we do go. So, I have lots of stuff to do. I have lots of stuff that I plan on reading, and I don't want those two books to be like books 6 and 7 on my currently reading list, you know? So, that was this video. It's a mess. But yes, be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and please subscribe if you want to see more of my face and my books. Bye.